Good evening, Nigeria, and welcome to Politics on Sunday. I am Femi Akonde. Well, President Bola Tinubu on Friday called on young Nigerians active in the digital media space to harness their platform as instruments of national progress. He urged them to build businesses that create employment, produce content that reflects unifying values, and serve as positive catalysts for societal development. He emphasized the critical importance of verifying information before amplifying it. At the opening of the Progressives Digital Media Summit themed Unveiling the Critical Role of New Media in National Development, President Bola Tinubu said, quote, "Your generation has recognized this moment. You are using digital tools to innovate, educate, and demand accountability. But as your influence grows, so must our collective sense of purpose and responsibility." End of quote. As Nigeria moves closer to the 2027 general election, political strategists, analysts, and citizens alike are asking a crucial question. Can social media become a game changer in President Bola Tinubu's re-election campaign? However, one thing is clear. Social media will be a powerful force, either as a tool of support or a platform for opposition. Whether President Bola Tinubu can harness its potentials effectively remains to be seen. Joining me in the studio to add credence to this conversation is the man who put together that Digital Media Summit, the Special Assistant to the President on Social Media, Dada Olusegun. Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you, Femi. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and your show, a lot of people say it was a huge success. You know, looking at the buzz it generated both online and offline. And also the attendance, President Bola Tinubu was there himself, and which speaks to the importance of that event. And we also saw his message, how emphatic and impactful this was President Bola Tinubu's message at that summit.
Basically what Mr. President did by attending that summit was to show a signal that he does not take digital media, digital communications, and the role that is playing in governance for granted. What we had on Friday and Saturday was a gathering of over 1,000 digital communicators, online influencers, progressive digital communicators, online influencers, content creators, people who are very active in the political space. And these are people who are, for Nigeria of today, are the ones who direct even what the mainstream media covers. Having that summit, Mr. President coming to open it, was a signal that we as an administration take social media and digital communications very, very seriously. And we understand its impact in our day-to-day activities and our social cohesion. Yeah,
indeed. A book was launched, Badversary.
Yes.
The journey so far. Talk to us about, that's Badversary 2.0, the journey so far. And this book, it's like a compendium of all the achievements of the Bola Tinubu administration within 2 years. But some people, say this summit that was put together should have talked more about the issues confronting Nigeria rather than gathering, these digital media players or people in the digital media space together to as a way of let me put it this way now. They say that this platform that you held on Friday, that it's a way to deflect criticisms or critics or deflect critics of the government from speaking against the government instead of speaking more to issues that are affecting everyday Nigerians, of course, like the issue of the economy, insecurity, unemployment, and a whole lot of that. Like it's a way to deny people on social media of their voice.
I want to believe that you had correspondents on ground.
I was there too.
And if you look at the shape-up of the program, we not only discussed crucial issues affecting the country, we had heads of agencies who came to talk about what they have been doing what they have been doing in their respective agencies, how Nigerians, especially the digital, on the social media, can benefit and key into government initiatives and programs. We use this opportunity. We use the summit as an opportunity to educate more people about the reforms and the gains that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration is making. Now, this compendium, the PBAT Anniversary 2.0, basically chronicles all of the achievements of Mr. President. Myself and my team of the PBAT Media Center, painstakingly put together this almost 500 pages of compendium, which shows about 40 major milestones of the Tinubu administration. And what we have done so far is to be able to speak to the issues. There's a difference between fighting fiction and fighting facts. Yeah. Now, there are a lot of people who assume, like you've said, that this is a way to deflect. For us, it's a way to educate. For us, it's a way to ensure that we not only explain what this administration has been doing, we also get feedback. We also ensure that we are able to get feedback from many of these progressive, because these are the people who put their integrity, everything on the line to ensure that this administration, was elected and put into office.
President Bola Tinubu said, verify before you amplify.
Yes.
And this PBAT Anniversary is amplifying the achievements of President Bola Tinubu.
Yes, that's exactly
I believe for your team, these achievements have been verified. Why is it difficult, especially when you go on social media? People do not really talk about some of these achievements, or maybe they have refused to acknowledge some of these achievements of the administration that you are amplifying in this book.
Okay, so let me explain a couple of things to you. For a lot of Nigerians, right, especially online, it is not about, especially those who choose to look at the bad side of things. It's never about good governance. It is about not being able to heal from the 2023 elections. Now, there are people, especially in the opposition party, who have vowed over and over again that their hope and dream is for this administration to fail. So they want to drown out the noise. They want to drown out what we are saying by coming in with misinformation, disinformation, and to a great extent, we have been able to cut through the noise. It's not easy, but staying on message, especially on a space like social media, is very, very difficult. I mean, we're talking about the Falcons giving Nigeria a victory for the 10th time. We had some people deliberately deciding to deflect the conversation from the glory of the Falcons to, the First Lady wore a dress that is 650 euros. And then basically this is the tactic of the opposition, or people who think they are the opposition, to distract from the issues, to drag us away from the issues, so that we continue to attack or respond or react to what they are saying, rather than focusing on what our administration is delivering. Our center, the PBAT Media Center, and most of the platforms of our administration is dedicated to showing verifiable achievements of this administration. I'll give you an instance. Nail Fund today currently has over 369,000 beneficiaries. That basically is, we have 36 states in Nigeria. That basically means that we have over 10,000 beneficiaries, student beneficiaries in every state. Now, those students have parents. And their parents have been, the load of going to go and look for school fees and running up and down has been taken away from their neck. These students get upkeep. I'm sure you have seen some of the videos online of students celebrating when they get their alert for their upkeep. Basically, what this administration has done is verifiable, is visible even to the blind. But there are people who have made it their duty that they would continue to distract, distray, and pull down, their entire agenda is to pull down this administration.
Even for some of the beneficiaries of these programs, like the NEL Fund you talked about, you know, apart from the viral video we saw of some students in, I think that's Sokoto, in Sokoto, in University of Sokoto, they are jubilating.
And Zaria,
for a lot more of them, you know, they say some of them are beneficiaries, but hardly speak about it. Is it that, you know, all of these gains that they are beginning to benefit from are not enough and they want more? That's why they have refused to commend the government of the day for even those achievements that they can now touch and feel.
You see, you have to understand something, Femi. If you understood the amount of disinformation and misinformation that went into the 2022 elections, you will realize that there are a lot of young people today that are even fighting against their own interests. It has become more or less like defending a football team rather than siding with superior arguments. A lot of lies, destructive disinformation was thrown out in the public. In fact, I would, as the president's special assistant on social media, we had a very hard time convincing many young Nigerians to register for NEL Fund because we had people in the opposition insisting, in spite of the fact that NEL Fund is not a partisan initiative. Indeed. It is an initiative as long as you are a Nigerian, as long as you are a young Nigerian, as long as you are a student, as long as you have need for this loan, you will get it. They told them it is a lie. A lot of, when this thing, the NEL Fund program initially started, we looked at the statistics, we realized that there were some areas that the believability level for NEL Fund was non-existent because we had people who were deliberately misinforming, deliberately telling these people it's a lie, there is nothing like that, don't mind them, it's a lie, because their favorite candidate did not win the election. The fact that your favorite candidate did not win the election does not mean that Nigerian young people should not benefit from the government of the day. And in so doing, it is not a campaign strategy. President Bola Tinubu has mentioned this student loan program as far back as 2014. It was part of the things that it's part of the founding document of our great party. So it is not a political, it is not something that is for politics. It just happens that this was something that he has always hoped that if you can give a man education, you have liberated him from poverty. The easiest way to liberate a man from poverty is through education.
Okay, we'll go deeper into that conversation after this quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. Well, Olusegun Dada is still my guest. He is the special assistant to President Bola Tinubu on social media, and he's also the brain behind that progressive digital media summit held at the banquet hall of the State House in Abuja. You know, still speaking about these summit, some people see it as a response to the obedient movement. You know, when I say the obedient movement, you understand what I mean. The supporters of Peter Obi, they were also a potent voice and force on the social media in 2023. And to a large extent,
what was the result of the election?
Well, it resulted in more than 6 million votes, or let's just say 6 million votes. Okay. To a large extent, a lot of people didn't give them a chance. A lot of people said, well, elections are not conducted on social media. There are no polling units on social media. But eventually, Peter became third in that election. Not everyone even expected that he would go that far. And they are giving credit to the obedient movement, using the social media as that tool to effect change, or to ensure that, you know, he went that far in the election. So looking at this, your summit now, it's looking like a response or trying to replicate this obedience movement.
Let me help you. The obedience movement came about to be in the run-up to the 2023 elections.
Indeed.
The APC has adopted digital communications as a strategy, as a means of media strategy, since this party was created. I was a founding member of this party in 2013. The digital strategy was part of APC's media overall strategy. We came up with the idea of using situational rooms for elections. APC as a party. Everything that you are seeing today is not something that we started yesterday. Everyone that you saw in that summit were people that have been a part of this progressive fold from when we started. I applaud. I will not lie or deceive you or anyone else. I applaud the obedient movement for what they were able to achieve in 2023. But what we are doing, or what we have been doing, is never a reaction. We are not a reactionary force. I would even applaud them for, at least coming up with being able to, 10 years after the fact, after we as a party had already been able to use social media as a potent strategy for both opposition and governance. So, what we have done is not a reaction to them in any way, shape, or form. We applaud their movement, and to a great extent, I am a big supporter of not just being a directionless move. I'm a big supporter of organization. To a great extent, the movement that you speak of has alienated a lot of members of it. What we have done with our summit is to more or less have a reunion, because since the 2022 elections, we have not had an opportunity to have a full house where all of us come together and discuss and take feedback, give feedback where it's necessary, learn from ourselves, unlearn certain things, relearn certain things, network. These are important things. It's not just hiding behind the anonymity of our social media handles to say this and to say that. Part of the things that made this summit very crucial is that we have a lot of our members, we have a lot of our progressive members who, in the course of sharing their opinions online, have also been found wanting of the cybercrime laws. We had a panel that was devoted mainly to helping by lawyers. It was a panel of lawyers that was devoted to mainly helping young Nigerians, especially those that are online, understand the intricacies of cybercrime laws, what you can say, what you cannot say, where your rights end, where another person's own belief, where another person's own begins. So basically, we are not going to apologize for being strategic. We're not going to apologize for being organized. If you say we are doing this as a reaction to the obedient movement, it would have been done maybe 2024.
But you've also seen the response from, I think I saw a tweet where you responded with maybe a laughing emoji or so, from an obedient who said, this gathering of the progressives, digital media stakeholders or players, it's strategic because they feel like it's all about the 2027 election. It's like the progressives coming to strategize, to dominate the media space and push narratives ahead of the 2027 election.
Oh, well, everyone is entitled to their opinions. But for us as a government, we are not even in the election mood yet. These people who are making these infamous, they see everything from the point of view of 2027. President Tinubu increases minimum wage, increases NYC minimum wage to 77,000. They say it's about 2027. President Tinubu does this, it's about 2027. President Tinubu does that, it's about 2027. If it was about 2027, President Tinubu will not remove fuel subsidy. He will not take the hard decision that he has taken to remove this country from the point that we were to the point we are that is stable. So basically, these individuals, for them, they think in 4 years. When we get to a campaign mode, they will know. Like, I want to quote Jafet Omojua. He said, you are already paranoid when you have just seen Kese. What are you now going to do when Kasa comes? We are still in governance mode. What we have done, basically, is to let our people know what we have done. This is what Mr. President has done in the last 2 years. The first anniversary, this is the second anniversary. These are the things, the 14 major milestones Mr. President has done. We are explaining to you questions you have about it, clarifications you have about it. We did not hold any campaign. We did not talk about any opposition politician. We did not even talk about the opposition movement. For us, we are about focusing on delivering the governance, the good governance that the Nigerian people entrusted in the hands of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the first instance of 4 years. Every other person can continue to jump and cry about 2027. 2027 will meet us in and adi. And when we get to campaign mode, we'll go into campaign mode. And when we get to campaign mode, they will know. There's no need for us to be doing all this thinking.
The social media space has become a very toxic place, filled with so much hate and rage. It gets even worse when political views are expressed. Now, can there be a way that, to maintain decorum and respect my views while I also respect your views? Because when you look at it, you see some of these people in that space calling for strengthening of democracy, good governance, but they are not also democratic in the way they express their views, because democracy means my views must be respected, my choice must be respected, while I also respect your choice. We don't see that on the social media space. And that's not speaking particularly to any group now. All groups, all sides are guilty of this.
Yeah. Okay, so you see, it's not a one-day journey. What we are witnessing currently is it's a global phenomenon. You see, the advent of social media came as a digital innovation, but it's also an hydra-headed monster, which allows people to give their unfiltered opinions without any check or care. I have been in that shoe before. I have made errors. I've made very terrible errors of judgment, because what social media does is it gives you the ability to say the first thing that comes to your mind. Whether it is true, whether somebody's pointing it on you, whether you just throw it out there. Now, what we are seeing is not just limited to political Twitter alone, or the political part of social media. Most aspects, you see, even in the football aspect, you see the same thing. Players getting bullied, people getting bullied for their choices. Even in the Big Brother, you see people going after one another over people that don't even know that they exist. So I think to a great extent, what we are witnessing is a deliberate act of the industrial revolution, outrage complex. Let me tell you what that is. The industrial outrage complex is that complex that takes offense at everything and anything, which makes people become reactionary, which makes people now become dogging in their opinion, rather than learn and relearn and unlearn. It becomes an egoistic battle.
But politicians have also capitalized on that to drive certain narratives and also influence opinions.
Of course. That is what politicians will do, what politicians do. Now, we as a country, we as young people who have to live in the future that we are creating for ourselves, we have to think about it. Is this the kind of country we want? How do you continue to attack somebody for his opposing views simply because you do not agree with his views? You wish all sorts of things to happen to him. We saw on social media in the run-up to the elections where people were saying, if my parents vote for this candidate, I will stop sending money to them. I will stop speaking their cause. And all sort of talk. But basically, we are where we are because I don't think for everything that our parents prepared for us for, no, they did not prepare that there would be this point where people will just be able to try their opinions anyhow they want. But at the end of the day, we have still seen what the positive power of social media.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people today that are millionaires, silent millionaires in this country, just simply because they have access to internet and a social media account.
Olusegun Dada, we must go. I'm sorry, we've run
Thank
out
you very
of
much.
time. And I appreciate you coming on the
very
program. Well, that's it, folks. Olusegun Dada, the special assistant to President Bola Tinubu on social media, talking about the power of the social media and how the progressives are harnessing this force for the benefit of the country. That's it on the program. You can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. My name is Femi Akonde. See you next time.